Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be ranking all the Perk-a-Cola jingles on how effective they tell you the perk effect is. For jingles introduced in Cold War, only base tier effects are considered, so no electric cherry effect for elemental pop. I'm going to be ranking each perk based on release order, so we're going to start with the original 4 perks and work our way from there. At the end of the video, I'm going to have a tier list ranking each of the perks based on how well they introduce the abilities to each player. The only thing that's taking into account here is the perk jingle itself, so nothing like perk icons or the perk machine, just the jingle. Now, I'm personally not that big of a fan of long intros, so if you could, leave a like on the video, comment down your favorite perk jingle, and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the stuff on here. Anyways, let's talk about perk jingles.
You need a little revive!
Quick Revive's jingle emphasizes the revive part, especially during the end of the jingle, and the specific use of the word revive implies coming back to life. However, it doesn't touch upon the ability to revive allies at all. However, the jingle does do a pretty good job at telling you about reviving yourself though.
You need a little revive!
For the Shadows of Evil version of Quick Revive, it's basically the same, except for they really emphasize the word revive, especially with the end of the jingle. For Juggernog, the term Strawn can imply several things and is vague on what the word Strawn in the song means. One could interpret Strawn as health, but another could interpret as damage output. This statement is also true for the Shadows of Evil version. Speed Cola, the first line of the song mentions you having slow hands, implying that it can boost actions involving your hands. While not too specific, you could easily infer that involves reloading, as that's one of the few things you do with your hands. Another thing one would do with their hands is repair barriers, but the perk also does that. The Shadows of Evil version of Speed Cola changes the lyrics somewhat by directly asking the listener to speed up their life by consuming Speed Cola. It also changes the first line, your hands are slow, your movements sluggish, to your hands are cold, your movements lifeless, which is just 2 ways of saying the same thing.
You thirsty, partner?
Double Tap Root Beer mentions cowboys needing to shoot fast, otherwise they'll end up dead, and that can infer a faster firing rate, and that's good enough since these jingles for the original 4 were added on Black Ops 1. However, this misses the double damage from Black Ops 2 onwards, so it does lose points simply not being updated to match this extra ability.
Double tap root beer, double damage fun.
For the Shadows of Evil version of Double Tap, they updated the jingle to include the double damage along with its increased firing rate, meaning this is going to have a higher score than its normal counterpart.
Sounds like you're stamming up time.
The first line after the intro mentions both extra running, and the whole song constantly emphasizes the extra time running and uses words like grooving as another descriptor when it comes to the extra movement. The jingle itself is, ironically, one of the slower perk jingles. For PhD Flopper, it mentions the dolphin dive constantly and making zombies groan because of its explosive effect. It does allude to fall damage immunity somewhat, but nothing about its explosive immunity properties.
With the headshot power of Deadshot Daiquiri.
Deadshot Daiquiri mentions at the end of the song that it gives increased headshot power. However, this ability didn't even exist on the PC version of Black Ops due to a lack of proper aim assist. This is also why the perk costs 1,000 points on the PC version. The whole jingle is about getting better aim, and that reflects well on the increase in hip-fire accuracy. However, there is no mention of any recoil reduction or removal of idle sway. Yo Kick being such a simple perk doesn't require a lot to describe what it does, and the line gun in hand and thrice they said is already enough to capture all of the perk's abilities.
New kid!
For the Shadows of Evil version of Mule Kick, it's mostly the same point, but even more so because of the extra lines that talk about having more guns, including
How about 3 guns, mon cher?
For Tombstone Soda, several lines mention wills and epitaphs and how you're your own heir to your own fortune, implying you come back from the beyond to reclaim your wealth. However, points are somewhat lost because it doesn't bring up what your fortune was, and one could just see it as cash instead of perks and guns. Also, the remix is still the superior way to listen to the jingle.
Rest in pieces, time for the count.
For For the jingle for Who's Who, the song is about having a doppelganger and how one of the yous is being taken away, probably being the real you, and the doppelganger talking with the real one about saving the real person from death. The major detail that is missing is that the doppelganger doesn't have everything you do, to reflect that you start with the starting pistol and nothing else. This is just a bunch of fucking chimes. The only time this damn perk machine appears is on Mob of the Dead, and every other time the perk shows up, it's in De Wonder Fizz. And on Mob of the Dead, perk jingles aren't even a thing. For Vulture, sight is a major part of the song, and one of its abilities allows the player to spot various icons, such as the box and perks. None of the other abilities are alluded to, such as the extra points or ammo, or even the gas cloud that shows up. For Widow's Wine, the only thing that could relate to its ability is the very last line, with Widow's Wine, you're mine. But besides this one line, it doesn't explain any attributes of the perk at all. According to in-game lore for Elemental Pop, the song is sung by a band of the same name, but the jingle has almost nothing to do with the actual ability of the perk. Still one of the best perk jingles IMO.
Death perception. Well, it just might save your life.
For our last perk, we have Death Perception. While it doesn't say how it can enhance your vision, it does mention that your vision is enhanced somehow. Better than Elemental Pop in this instance. Now that we have all the perks done, we can start tiering all these perks. At the very bottom of the list, we have Electric Cherry, which is nothing but chimes. That's all I have to say about Electric Cherry. Okay, with Electric Cherry out of the way, we can just talk about the perks that aren't descriptive at all. Both Widow's Wine and Elemental Pop don't really tell you what the perk does. Sure, the songs are catchy, especially Elemental Pop's, but it doesn't actually tell you what the perk does. At least there's an actual song to these perks, unlike Electric Cherry, which is nothing but chimes. Next up, we have a missing a major detail or vague tier. Vulture barely escapes the not descriptive at all part because sight is a major part of the lyrics. Tombstone is pretty vague about what your fortune is. Who's Who, when you're listening to it for the first time, can sound very, very vague, and plus, it doesn't mention the fact that the doppelganger does not have whatever you have. While Jug isn't missing any major details in its song, it's somewhat vague because the word strong can mean many different things. PhD Flopper is only in this tier because there's no mention of explosive anywhere except for the lyric, "Your explosive lovin'." Then we have missing a minor detail, starting off with Deadshot Daiquiri. The whole song is about getting better aim and shooting skulls for fun, but it doesn't mention the lack of recoil or the removal of idle sway from snipers. Death Perception does mention enhancing your vision, however, it doesn't specify that you're able to peer through walls to see undead hordes. Double Tap 2.0 is the reason why Double Tap's Jingle is in the missing a minor detail part, because it doesn't mention the fact that it shoots double the bullets. Quick Revive is mostly fine, but it's just missing the small little detail about being able to revive your allies a lot more quickly. Finally, we've made it to the perfect tier, where the jingle encapsulates everything that the perk does. First is the Shadows of Evil version of Double Tap, where it mentions to double the damage and the increased firing rate. Then we have Stamina Up, which has both lyrics alluding to longer running times and faster running speeds. Then we have both versions of Speed Cola, which basically tell the same thing. Your hands are slow and you can do things faster if you drink this, such as reloading and rebuilding barriers. Lastly is Mule Kick, which is probably one of the most simple perks ever, and as long as you mention, "Ayo, you can get 3 guns," that it would already place it in perfect tier. So this was just a short video about ranking perk jingles based on how well they tell the ability of each perk. If you enjoyed the video, why not give it a like, comment down your favorite perk jingle, and if you haven't already, why not hit that subscribe button, because it will show me that you guys want this type of content. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful day, everyone.